All right, so today we're going to have a discussion about some of the things I've been seeing on the news when it comes to the coronavirus. Around the world, you're seeing more and more lockdowns, and in this country, you're seeing some lockdowns happening right now. Like, for example, in Chicago, they're bringing about a second lockdown. Now, listen, things are about to get nuts in this country, and this is something I've been telling the right for a while. You know, when it comes to Donald Trump losing the 2020 election, that's actually not a bad thing. That's actually a blessing in disguise. Let me tell you something why. I'll tell you why. Because no matter who is president for the next 4 years, from 2020 to 2024 and even beyond, financial times are going to be horrible. So I wouldn't want to be president during this time anyways. For the next 4 years, it's going to be all Joe Biden's fault. And that's great for you if you're on the right. So keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, if you look at some of the lockdowns that are happening, this is causing businesses to suffer. And that's something the right can use right now, because when it comes to economic success, when it comes to building the economy, when it comes to tax breaks, when it comes to small business growth, the right, you have a leg up on that. Most people around the country, when they were asked about money and Donald Trump and finances and who is better at handling the economy, if you look at some of the polls, some of the consistent polls that were shown throughout the years, even some people on the left conceded that Donald Trump was great with money. Now, with that being said, I'm going to warn everyone that's watching this video, and even people that are in the country and even around the world, economic times are about to be hard. Really hard. Like, for example, I saw a recent headline that says more than half of businesses out there, in terms of restaurants, in terms of a lot of small businesses, almost half of them, or in some cases, literally half of them are going to close down and remain closed forever. I mean, there are businesses now that have already closed down, that have suffered, they are not going to come back. I don't think a lot of people understand that. There are businesses that you know and love in your communities that are never coming back. And it's all the federal government's fault. I mean, even if you were to say that the whole lockdown thing was necessary, and personally I say, if you wear a mask, if you socially distance, if you take precautions, I think that you should be allowed to open your business. You should be allowed to operate your schools, your gyms, your exercise clubs, your parks, you name it. You should be able to open that stuff so long as everyone's safe, right? Because you can't just stop life as you know it because of a pandemic. Because if you do that, then what's going to happen is, guess what? Yeah, you might have made everybody safe. No one has corona. But guess what? We're in bread lines now. You don't want to become, you don't want to make your country Venezuela, to prevent a pandemic. Now, with that being said, I can actually give you some of the stories that I got when I was writing some stories. And I'm going to actually link down below some of the articles that I wrote when it came to coronavirus and some of the people losing their businesses. Like, some people don't seem to have any kind of empathy for that. Well, let me put a hat on the problem for you. There's a guy in Myrtle Beach in Horry County, South Carolina. I'm not gonna mention his particular name because I don't want to embarrass the guy. He actually lost everything. But he has this restaurant called 8th Street Tiki Bar and Grill. It's a little small little stand that's right there in Myrtle Beach. And Myrtle Beach, it's a very high tax area because it's a tourist destination. And in South Carolina, despite the fact that it is actually a red state, it's actually one of the highest tax states in the entire lower 48. Believe it or not. It is bizarre. It's a red state, and it's a very bizarre red state because it's mostly dominated by rhinos. With that being said, the taxes in Myrtle Beach are so high. This man paid over $1 million to get that one particular small little spot. And he lost everything. Do you understand what it's like to spend $1 million on your business, making money hand over fist, and then all of a sudden, the rug gets pulled from underneath you. You lose it all. How do you pick up and just move up from there? And see, that's why I have so much animosity towards our government and even towards Donald Trump, because I think our federal government shut down the economy and didn't do enough to help people, to save people. Let me give you another example. There is another place in Columbia, South Carolina, in Columbia, South Carolina. It's in this little shopping center called Sand Hill Shopping Center. And it's on Two Notch Road. And it's in Northeast Columbia. And this guy on the phone, the owner was actually talking to me. And he lost everything. He had to actually lay off people. You had single mothers there, single parents who were relying off of tips, off of their regular wage. They were relying off of that to survive, to make it through college. A lot of them were USC students, the University of South Carolina. They were local college students. They were parents. They were your neighbors. They were your friends. You've had gyms. You've had movie theaters. I mean, the movies. Guys, do you realize that the very concept of going to the movies is done now? I mean, really, Regal Cinema is done. I mean, when it comes to when it comes to AMC, they're done. Guys, it's over. This the part that this drives me crazy. I don't think people realize how much life has changed. How many things will never return back to the same. And that's the part that's making me freak out the most. You've had times during this period where people have tried to tell churches how to have services. You know, and I was instantly wondering, when did we get to the point? When did we get to the point of sending police officers into a Jewish synagogue, armed men with guns? You know, I'm wondering, some of these hardcore cities, these hardcore cities with these freaking lockdowns, I wonder, are they ever going to get to a point where they're going to send armed men, you know, into a Jewish synagogue to tell them how to have worship services if they're not socially distanced or wearing masks? Are we ever going to get to that point? And once we get to that point, I want you to understand that is a point of no return. That imagery is going to be horrifying and scary for a lot of people. You know, and with that being said, when you look at everything that's actually going down now, guys, you know, we were so concerned about Nazis, 4 years ago with Donald Trump. We were so concerned with fascism. We were so concerned with communism, you know, that Donald Trump had pointed out. And yet we have not realized that we have justified things that, in my opinion, are either on par or in some cases worse. You know, we justify a mother being locked up while she was while she had her kids on a playground. We justify a woman in Myrtle Beach being locked up because of a local ordinance, you know, saying that she can't wear a thong. We've justified a pastor being locked up for having church service because he was not socially distanced and there was a local ordinance in Florida. Think about the things that we have justified during this period. Not just the business downfall, not just people being on unemployment, not just people losing their homes, losing their livelihood, you know, people committing suicide. You've had people's whole lives turned upside down. But it's also the tyranny that we've justified during this period. The tyranny. You know, and given all the constitutional amendments that have been violated during this period, you know, the freedom of assembly. You know, you've had people out saying, well, BLM and they shouldn't be out in the streets. And I understand people shouldn't be rioting and looting and burning down business, but the very act of protesting, people have been trying to curtail that during this period. You've had people trying to justify the government, you know, in certain areas, restricting gun sales, restricting gun rights. Are you serious? What does a virus have to do with a gun? How does restricting my Second Amendment right prevent coronavirus or COVID or whatever you want to call it, the coof? You know, the government has some real fucking nerve shutting down businesses, ruining people's lives, and then telling you that your rights are not your rights. And you wonder why you've had endless days of protesting. Do you not think at some point that might have something to do with it? But, you know, going forward, again, I will say that I wouldn't want to be president during this time, especially when people have lost so much stuff. And going forward for the next 4 years, things are probably not going to be the same. Things are probably not going to recover as quickly. You know, Fauci said that we could have a vaccine as early as April, right? But if that turns out ain't to be about the same as the Obamacare website, and by the way, Fauci was around during that time period too, just to let you know. I don't have a whole lot against Fauci personally, and I know Trump does, but I personally doesn't. But he was around during that time too. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, you know. So this is not his first little go around, you know. But with that being said, I mean, he's saying that it could be as early as April, but this is the government. Have you seen how they build roads? Have you seen how they build schools? Have you seen how they wage war? Are you counting on that freaking vaccine in April? I'm not. I'm not holding my breath because first of all, I don't have great lung capacity, so I would probably pass out. Okay? So things are going to be really, really rough in this country pretty soon. In fact, it's already pretty rough, but it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. And guess what? All of that is going to be on Joe Biden, fair or unfair. And I'm gonna admit, most of it's probably going to be unfair, but a lot of it is going to be fair because he's going to raise taxes, and raising taxes during this period on anybody is probably not the best choice. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video, and I must say, to sum it up, man, I wouldn't want to be president during this time, and if you do, something's got to be off with you. Anyways, love you all. Have a great day, and horns up and peace out.